I don't think there's any value to the public in having a circuit court judge explain the intricacies of a judicial opinion, which really only law school graduates can comprehend. A lot of times I made decisions on the bench that the law forced me to make, that I sent people to jail for crimes that, in my opinion, were victimless and shouldn't have been crimes, and they should not have gone to jail, like the 3 strikes on possession of marijuana. You went away for 20 years. That's so absurd, especially today where it's legal in 37 states. But there are times when judges must do things that they don't want to do because they've taken an oath to uphold the law and the law requires it. Explaining that so that the public can understand it is a very difficult task.
So let's shift to a couple of the other things going on right now. So obviously, Joe Biden has selected Ketanji Brown Jackson to be his nominee for the Supreme Court. I have no doubt that this, once the hearings begin, will be as chaotic as ever. Maybe not quite as chaotic as Brett Kavanaugh, because she's kind of on the side of the media, but you know, the usual stuff is going to happen. I guess, what would your general qualifications be? I think I have a sense of that already. And B, how do we pilfer some truth out of this, knowing that the media is not going to cover it the way it would if, say, she was nominated by Donald Trump or a Republican president?
I start with the premise that under the Constitution, the president gets to nominate whoever he wants. And believe it or not, Dave, neither the Constitution nor federal law require that a Supreme Court justice even be a lawyer, much less held prior judicial experience. The last justice who didn't even graduate from law school was Justice Robert Jackson, who had been the Attorney General of the United States under FDR. And he's one of the most quotable justices in the modern era, never graduated from law school. Today, of course, the Senate would not confirm anyone who didn't graduate from law school. The Senate and the presidents seem to prefer people who have judicial experience. That's not required at all. Chief Justice Earl Warren had no judicial experience and probably affected jurisprudence in this country more than anybody. Chief Justice John Marshall, the great Chief Justice, from the Thomas Jefferson to the Andrew Jackson years, he had no judicial experience. And because Joe Biden nominated her, she's a liberal Democrat. That's to be expected. Donald Trump, I'm very familiar with his nomination process since I was intimately involved the first time around. Donald Trump, in my opinion, nominated 2 conservatives and 1 libertarian. The libertarian is Neil Gorsuch. The conservatives are Amy Coney Barrett, who's a graduate of the same law school as I am, University of Notre Dame, and Brett Kavanaugh. That's the president's prerogative. I don't agree with Senator Lindsey Graham on many things, but I agree with him on this. The president nominated the person, and he or she is basically qualified. I'm going to vote for them. I think that's what the outcome will be with Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. However, there are conservative Republicans on the Judiciary Committee, and I know them both. Well, Ted Cruz has been a friend of mine for years. Josh Hawley, we have met through the monitor, like you and I are meeting now. They're going to go for her jugular. They're going to find decisions that she made, which she believes she was compelled to make under the law, which appear inexplicable to the public. Not to hurt her, not to deny her the job, because she'll certainly get it, but to embarrass the president. This, this started with Robert Bork. Then
it was Joe Biden who started
gear
this.
With Clarence Thomas. And then, of course, Brett Kavanaugh. It doesn't happen to all of them. It didn't happen to Amy Coney Barrett. It did not happen to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It did not happen to Neil Gorsuch. But every once in a while, there is a nominee that the minority party, that's the party that's not in the White House, thinks they can tarnish the person who did the nomination by tarnishing the candidate. History has shown that does not carry over into the nominee's judicial opinions. Whatever you think of Clarence Thomas, he is either forgiven or forgotten. And the same thing with Brett Kavanaugh. Robert Bork, of course, the trashing worked. He was rejected by a vote of 52 against and 48 in favor.
Yeah, which Joe Biden basically led the charge on. Do you think that there's some?
Yes,
do you think that there's some value in, say, Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, some of these other guys going for the jugular, even if she's going to be confirmed either way, just to at least expose some of the thinking behind the decisions, so that people can frame the issues properly, even if they can't stop it? Even though, and of course, it all becomes a circus either way.
I think the value is to the political base.
Yeah.
Most respectfully to my friends, for Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley. I don't think there's any value to the public in having a circuit court judge explain the intricacies of a judicial opinion, which really only law school graduates can comprehend. A lot of times I made decisions on the bench that the law forced me to make, that I sent people to jail for crimes that, in my opinion, were victimless and shouldn't have been crimes, and they should not have gone to jail, like the 3 strikes on possession of marijuana. You went away for 20 years. That's so absurd, especially today, where it's legal in 37 states. But there are times when judges must do things that they don't want to do because they've taken an oath to uphold the law, and the law requires it. Explaining that so that the public can understand it is a very difficult task.
What about if a judge was truly radical? And I honestly don't know enough about her full resume, and obviously we're going to hear it. But what if they were someone that really did not hold any of the principles that you mentioned at the beginning about our founding documents and individual rights, and they really were activists in terms of they wanted to fundamentally change the way the country is run? You'd want some exploratory version of it, right?
The answer is yes. However, with Judge Jackson, I mean, she was confirmed to the United States District Court 8 years ago, and then was confirmed by this very same Senate to the Circuit Court of Appeals 1 year ago. So they've already gone through all this. However, if some nominee did not believe that the Constitution was the supreme law of the land, or believed that the Declaration of Independence was just Jefferson's musings, or that the First Amendment really doesn't guarantee the freedom of speech, that person would probably be disqualified, and those views should be exposed.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversation about law instead of the nonstop yelling you get everywhere else, check out our law playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, check out our full episode playlist. They're both right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.